Hello, this is Lyric Kinard. Since I have some hand applique work I'm doing today, I thought I'd just show you my process. I have a piece that I have actually machine stitched. You can kind of see the machine stitching right there down. And I've cut away the background, but I still want to stitch down the top layer of this teal strip, but I don't want stitches showing on top of this. So I'm going to hand applique it. The first thing I have is a size 11 applique needle. I actually like the straw needles that are longer than a regular applique needle because I like to hold my needle with two fingers, and I don't use a thimble, so it's just more comfortable for me. I use YLI silk thread 100 weight, which I find slides beautifully through the cloth, kind of buries itself wonderfully well. To thread my needles, figure out where it is. There you are. I slide, let me see if I can get it where you see it. I slide that thread as far back between my fingers as I can, and then I bring the needle onto the thread. So I'm kind of needling my thread, not threading my needle. There we go. To do a knot, I make a big old messy knot. I put the center of the thread on my finger, roll it off so it's all twisty loopy, wrap it around, and there we have a big old messy knot. And then I bring my needle up between the layers. I've already got some of this done, and I'll go back a stitch. Give it a little yank to make sure that your needle isn't coming through. Now I like to bunch up my fabric so that I can get my fingers on the front and the back. That's the front, that's the back, and hold the layers together. This is held together actually by that stitching, otherwise I'd be completely full of pins here, which I do sometimes, of course. Alright, so where that thread is coming out, I will hold the layers there and slide my needle down and poke it through the back layer exactly where that thread is coming out, and then kind of bend the needle and the fabric and bring the needle out right on the edge of the top layer of fabric. So barely on the edge. And then you get that nice straight in and back up stitch that kind of, as you snug the needle, turns under the cloth and buries your thread. The other tip I'd like to share with you is look where my pinky finger is. I'm holding the needle up here, but the thread I'm holding down here. It's a habit I've developed that keeps the needle from coming unthreaded. It also keeps the thread from fraying from that friction at the eye of the needle. So I almost never ever break my threads because there's no stress on the eye of the needle, and I rarely ever come unthreaded. All right. Now as you pull it through each time, give it a little tug, and the top layer and the thread kind of makes itself disappear. I also like to use, most of the time I use a neutral gray thread for hand applique. This time I'm using black because it was the first thing I put my hands on and because there's some black in the fabric. If you have a choice between white and black, I always use the darker unless my top layer or my bottom layer is all white, and then I'll use white. But darker colors tend to recede, go away from your vision, and lighter colors tend to stand out and come forward. So if you use a lighter color thread, it has more of a chance of showing up. So you can see those stitches kind of bury themselves. Let's say this is my last stitch. I'm not going to be stingy and use up my last 2 inches of thread. It's just not worth the aggravation of trying to make the knot there. I will put my needle down, but instead of coming up, I'll go through to the back, give a little snug, get the thread out of the way, take a bite of the cloth right there where the thread is coming out, leave the needle in halfway, wrap 1, 2, 3 times around, snug it down. Sorry, I keep bumping the camera so you're all wobbly. Pull it through after I've held it with my thumb, and there's a knot. A lot of times I'll make another knot just for safekeeping. And then I kind of like to bury my tail just because I've got light cloth and a dark thread, so I'll just bury the tail, snip it off so no thread will show through to the front after I put the things together, put the layers together. And there you have, just easy, classic needle turn hand applique. Again, my name is Lyric Kinard. You can find more tutorials and all kinds of stuff at my website, lyrickinard.com. Thanks for joining me today.